One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitzed, and you can get 15% off your order when you head to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off.
Right.
Guess who's here? Oh,
Guess
wait.
who's here?
Oh, am I early?
A little early, just a touch early. It's One of a Kind with RVD here. I'm Dominic D'Angelo, OneTrueSportTV.com, SCScoops.com. But we have a special guest here. Is it Polish Prince, Matt Burns?
All the above, Daddy.
It's Rob Van Dam.
Yes,
He's here.
sir. Hey, man. Happy Thursday. To you. Quick week. Can't believe it's garbage night again already.
Dang it, garbage night. Man, Duke the Dumpster Drosey's going to come over, grab your garbage.
Couple blinks to the eye, and here we are again.
Here we are again. Guys, we're live on RVD's YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe. We're also live on One True Sport YouTube, One True Sport TV. Like, subscribe to that. Also, be sure to hit up rvdtv.com. And, hey, if you're listening podcast-wise, definitely give us 5 stars. Write a little review on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify. I should always try to start plugging that a little bit more. I always forget. But
are we still on that, was it Rumble or whatever? Is that what it's called, or?
So, you know what? I tabled that for now, but I think I might bring it back because that's kind of catching a little bit more momentum, it seems, that whole network thing. So it's hard
for me to, like, if someone asks what our numbers are, I don't know. I only know, how many people look at the clips at the Real RVD on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I thought of this very creative idea. I want to start picking from the comments on my YouTube page at the Real RVD and picking one or two, and answering them on here. Because to the listeners, I do go to my YouTube page and I read the comments. And if you look and you see that little thumbs up button was pressed, because I hit like on all of y'all, even if you're trying to be mean and think you're hurting somebody, whatever. Boom, I appreciate your feedback. And that comes from me. And I comment just like on any of my social media when I'm inspired to do so. That's my policy is, a lot of times I'm trying to scroll through, trying to read all the update myself, get to the point where I left off last time when I checked yesterday, day before, whatever, boom, boom, boom. And then you ask, hey, Rob, who is your toughest opponent? I might not feel like stopping and answering that right there. Speaking of which, we have a clip from my movie that I did with Batista. In fact, I think a second clip now, but with Ja Rule. And it's got a lot of numbers. It's got a lot of people coming to it. And a lot of people, I must have seen this question, anyway, at least half a dozen times. I think more, and more with the new clip today too. But people keep saying, what is this movie? And I haven't bothered to answer it because I just figure, hey, if you Google Batista and Rob Van Dam movie, boom, I'm sure you're going to see it. And I know that you guys are way more tech savvy than RVD here because I can barely figure out how to turn my phone on personally. So it's called Wrong Side of Town to answer everyone at the same time because that was asked a lot. So I just want to tell you that I've done a lot of movies, not a lot as far as like wrestling. In wrestling, if you've had 20 matches or 30 matches, that's not a lot. With movies, I consider it a lot, but it's not a lot, to a veteran that's been working, don't tell Robert De Niro. I ain't no big shot. But I probably have done quite a few, though, that you don't know about. And that's the point that I'm thinking of. And if you look up, there's a place, there's an app and a site called IMDb, which is the International Movie Database. So you can look up any stars on there. I use it a lot for when I'm like, oh, where do I know this girl from? I saw her in something just the other day in a different movie and than the one I'm watching now. And then I got to look up the one I'm on now. and then find her, and then find the other movies she's done. Oh, of course. You know, I use it for that a lot. But anyway, Wrong Side of Town, Lionsgate, Jaw Rule, yes sir. That was a lot of fun. And I'm gonna pick. There's a couple other ones right here. One of them says, "This is from Pleasantly Disturbing."
Ooh,
right?
Okay.
He says, "Why did WWE movies look like low budget porn acting?" And I thought I would take that question to address a point that I would like to make in case somehow this has escaped capture by a lot of people's minds or imaginations. All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Wrestling is porn. When you look at it, no matter which one you're talking about, wrestling or porn, you're watching something to escape the reality, and the more you can believe what they're doing, the more you invest your emotions, and that has a lot to depend on their acting and their performance. And if they fuck up and they do something that all of a sudden like ruins the whole fantasy or the whole feel that you had, the whole fun you were having with it, now all of a sudden it looks, like, no, they're just working together. It totally can take you out of it and take you away from what they're trying to do, which is distract you from the real world in such a way that allows you to follow them. The better they are, the more escape you are allowed to do with them, and thereby invest your emotions more into said entertainment. And that is the same agenda all the way till the end. The big, the finish is what a lot of people remember, but everything leading up till that as well is so important. And you don't want to be hearing the director's voice, calling shots and stuff, because you want to think it ain't. They're not working. They're into it. Like I want them to be into it. And so that is the art. Also, with wrestling, that's why it bothers me when it's just thrown out the window and people just stand there waiting to catch somebody outside the ring, because that is the equivalent of the director saying, scream a little louder, honey. Okay, so there's that. Also, this one is from Viking Hammer 87. RVD's little rabbit punches were some of the worst working punches in the business, up there with Shane. Yeah, I didn't really study Shane's, but this is in response to a video that I did. And a lot of people, I think, just read the headline that said that I hated The Rock's punches and then just commented on that. But I appreciate you guys stopping by, giving us some little love as well. But the whole story was that my rabbit punches did suck until about 2002-ish. And so I did like 12, 13 years not really knowing how to throw a pro wrestling punch. And as we discussed in detail, a shoot punch that you throw fast and hide because you don't want anyone to see it coming is not conducive to the entertainment value of a big, wide swing that seems to connect and knock a guy out of the ring. So big difference. And so I was told, probably by Sabu, way back, until I learned how to punch, just throw forearms. So mostly that is what I did. But every once in a while I would throw punches and it felt like I was doing them good. And then I'd watch them and be like, man, that does not come across. But it was like 2002 or 3, probably 2, that Blackjack Lanza said, you know what? You're going to come out here to the lobby with me and we're not going to leave until you know how to punch. I was like, okay, so that's it. By the time we come back here, you're going to throw a good punch. He walked, and he did. he showed me. And so, anybody, you probably don't notice, no one's throwing out there, yeah, RVD's got one of the best punches. But if you watch anything after, I saw the Cena and RVD match, and I was like, oh, here's a great example, because we're the yay, boo, yay, boo. And just like my kicks, once I learned how to throw that punch in, let's just say there's not much room, not much margin for error. And so that has a lot to do with not being afraid to take a risk of maybe contacting somebody. But anyway, in that match, they cut the cameras. And that used to always bother me in WWE when I first got there too. I would remember certain kicks that I thought, wow, I can't wait to see that match back. And we watched the matches back the next day at TVs in the catering always from the night before. Anyway, sometimes on the TVs, not sometimes, let's say all the time, I'll go to watch a certain kick, whether it's off the top rope, a one-legged extended kick, a hi-ya kick, crane kick, which I just recently learned, somewhat recently, that it's called. Anyway, they cut the camera like boom, like right when I'm about to connect, they cut it and show from behind, boom, and show them fall. And it's probably done as a protective cushion, but because that was a part of my art form, was really laying it in there, I resented that they did that to my moves. And while we're on the subject, let me just say, I think, because I say, like the new style, it looks like, they work together and they lost the competition, this and that. Not just me, a lot of people say it. And, it's just when we're commenting on it. But I got to say, something that's been around forever and ever that I think might be the most exposing move in the business is the tombstone pile driver. Someone said that Undertaker threw the best punches, and that sounds right. Like I haven't seen him since I read that, so I hadn't had that in mind. But when I picture it, it seems like I remember him like really giving and taking good punches. But whenever I see a tombstone pile driver, and it's clearly obvious to everybody because you are allowed a clear visual line to the person's head. There's 99% of the tombstone pile drivers I see, there's this much space between their head and the ground. Otherwise, I would think the move is supposed to maybe like drive their head down into the ground. Obviously, that must not be it because it never looks like their head goes into the ground, almost never. And so I've always just wondered, like, is it just like, boom, it's supposed to like jar your spine because it's got you like in an upside down reverse bear hug or something, and then boom, and it jars your spine? Because if that's what it is, that I apologize, I get it. Otherwise, I don't really understand what that is supposed to accomplish. And I remember the first time I remember noticing one of the guys, it was either Taker or Kane, was doing it to Linda McMahon, like on the steps. And I was like, yeah, but clearly there was 3 feet, between her head. And like, and I've always wondered, like, they can't be implying that we're not seeing what we're seeing, right?
Right.
I don't know. So maybe you can explain that one to me.
I think that it is, but I always, as a fan growing up and everything like that, I always thought it was like, oh, he's supposed to be dropping him on his head. That's where the impact is. It's not like, I never would think it was like, oh, he's trying to jar the spine or anything like that. I know sometimes when I see it, like the way the person gets dropped, like when like Taker or somebody lets go of them, it kind of makes it maybe look a little bit more, oh, okay, he dropped him on his head. But like, it kind of
after he lets go of them.
Yeah, when he lets go of them, it kind of gives that. It kind of masks that visual for you a little bit. But I'm kind of with you. Like, it does kind of take you out of it. And usually when I'm watching a tombstone pile driver get executed, I'm more so like, I hope there's clearance there. Like, I'm more concerned for the wrestler like not getting hurt now and seeing like, I don't want his head to hit the ground or anything like that. But it ultimately does take you out of what you were saying, when it comes to that stuff. So. Yeah, I'd like to hear some of the chat's feedback too on that if you know that. So if you have a different opinion or thought on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, very
What's the
interesting.
answer? Maybe y'all have the answer.
Mm-hmm. But no, you're right though. Like that analogy you compare with porn and wrestling. It's like there's those moments. It's like you want to be completely invested in whatever you're watching, and if there's something that takes you out of it, then you're taken out of it. It's a really really fascinating comparison. It is so. Good stuff, Rob. What a way to kick things off. We are live. We have a lot of super chats here already, so I thank everybody for doing that and definitely engaging. We got some newcomers in here. We have some familiar faces in Greg Jacobson, Triple E. I want to shout out to some. There's a new gal named Priscilla in the house. Somebody's from Spain in here. We got a good turnout here.
Yes, Neil.
We are worldwide, baby. Todd from New Hampshire. Shout out to him. Shout out to all you guys. Yeah, feel free to use the super chat or just ask a question. But I just want to thank Jim D for just $10. If you have a question, Jim, let me know and I'll be sure to pop it up. You don't got to pay anything.
Right on, Jim.
Yeah, right on there, man.
Stepping right up front.
What's up, gang? You guys want some 5-star cleaning on your grooming habits? Well, you know a wrestling podcast is not a wrestling podcast without a sponsor like Manscaped. I got the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, and dang, it is cool. Such a neat presentation here, and I am excited to try it. As you know, I'm Italian, little swarthy, have a lot of body hair going on, and something like this, the Lawnmower will do perfect, will do wonders for me. Check this out. Look at all you get with that. You get the different blade heads, and you get the razor here and stuff like that, and then there's a lot of cool other toiletries and accessories in here as well to help you out. So you get your plugs and everything, but easy to travel with, everything like that. And Lawnmower, not only can you get that, but you can get the dome shaver now too. I just turned it on. Look at that. Look at that. It is ready to go right out of the box even. Look at this baby. Boom. So you can go to, got the light. Man, I'm learning everything about this. Got the light and everything. So check it out. What you can do is go to manscaped.com, use promo code RVD, and get 20% off plus free shipping. You can get the Lawnmower. You can get the dome shaver. You can get, you can get the weed whacker, which I use for my nose. I got it up in my bathroom over there. So you got plenty that you can choose from here with Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, use promo code RVD. Get 20% off and feel clean, look good, feel good, and look 5-star, baby.
Hey, this is Concussion Awareness Month. And yes, so I am hopefully after this, if you don't tire me out too much, I need to do some content. Some of the content is I got to do some videos for the Concussion Legacy Foundation.
Oh.
And this is something passed on through Chris Nowinski. It has a lot to do with bringing awareness to the foundation, but also to the helplines that they have that are available. And for anybody, but they're kind of targeting people that have head injury symptoms, that can lead to depression. I did a interview with not an interview, but I was talking with the guy to find out, what I should say in my video and what's the call to action, tell them to go to this number or whatever. And, just through talking, it was really emotional for me. I didn't expect it, but I was he was asking me about when I had the double vision, and he was like, just how frustrating was it? And when I put myself back there and explored that part of my brain and put myself back in November, December 2016, boom, out of nowhere, I'm bawling.
Wow.
Whoa,
yeah.
What was that from? And it was explaining how frustrating it was for me. And so obviously this is one of those things where I hope that by talking about it, some other people can relate and I could be helping them. But I had I've had many concussions. Almost all of them last a few seconds and then they shake off. Couple of them, I'd still be a little sensitive to the light later on, maybe even in the morning, but not very often at all. And this one, I had double vision, and it just was not going away, and it threw me so far off of my game. I was so lost in life, and so it was weird, revisiting that time because I had been separated from the wife. I was still getting used to handling all the bills and stuff because she used to do all that, and I'm trying to learn to do all that, and then I'm told that I got to make all these appointments by somebody that's not a principal doctor, but somebody that said, hey, you know what, you got to make an appointment with and get your MRI, and you got to make an appointment to go see the neurologist, and you got to make an appointment to go to the vision therapist, and like had all this going on. I was missing appointments, losing my own self-esteem during this time, and it was so frustrating. And I went to one eye doctor in Redondo Beach, and got checked out, and this motherfucker said, oh, you don't have any brain problems. He said, it's just your prescription needs to be updated. Because how about that? I just saved you thousands of dollars. I'm like, this guy's a fucking idiot. There's no fucking way that I don't. I mean, I know what I'm going through. And he was just like, put these different glasses on me, and shit. And it was like, but anyway, so I had to know who to ignore and who to go to, and it was just so crazy for me. And the Evil X saying, telling the lawyers that I'm faking it. Just so much going on right then, and this was like during the rough time to all of 2016. It was pretty rough, but anyway. Some people might be dealing with this same issues or similar, or be able to relate at all and just feel overwhelmed. And the message is there is help, and you will get better. You just got to keep at it. The doctors couldn't tell me shit. I'm like, dude, am I always going to have this? I don't think so. What does that mean? Like, am I going to have this for weeks or months or years, or I don't know. I felt like I was the first ever to have it because the studies were so new that I felt like I was just totally part of the experiment. And so anyway, the symptoms hung out with me for the better part of 2 years. I didn't have like an exact finish line, so I can't say. I guess I got to go back and check records and find out like when I stopped vision therapy, but it may or may not have been also a bunch of stuff going on. I moved, but there was never a time where it's like, boom, okay, you're good to go. Although I did do my own testing with the eye doctors and, make sure that my reaction time and my vision, everything was normal for me, which means I got shitty vision anyway. I've worn glasses since I'm 2 years old. But, for anyone listening, it's a lot of work. But there's so much hype. Once the awareness for CTE is great, but at the same time, it got so overhyped. All my peers think that they have CTE. They think like, dude, come on, all of us have it at least a little. There's a big difference between concussion symptoms, long-term symptoms even, and this actual disease. There's a big difference. So that's one thing that I was kind of forced to learn, and now I want to help tell everybody else because don't let fear keep you from being well. That's the thing, and that goes also with medication. A lot of times, people are depressed with or without head injuries, but that is a common pathology that leads in that direction. And I talked about that a little bit, and I feel like that's something I'd like to share too. We all have different brain chemistry, right? We all react different to everything. A hot girl walks by on the sidewalk. Some of us are just, oh my God. We're just like, we turn stupid. We're like overwhelmed. And then other people don't even notice. They're like, what? Man, I ain't got time for that. And anyway, all of that is chemical reaction to stimuli. And it goes way beyond that. Obviously, we all feel different about everything. But when it comes to medication, there's a stigma against it. And people that don't need help are the worst people to get advice from because they just don't fucking know. So, I've always said drugs in themselves are not bad. Abuse is bad. Drugs do wonderful things. They're made to extend your life and to combat illnesses. Even fentanyl, which is killing everybody, has a use. When you take an ambulance ride, they give you fentanyl, and my understanding is like 5 milligrams of it could be deadly. So it's something that's very, very strong, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't say, okay, yeah, if it was up to me, let's get rid of it all, but you can't do that. And like I said, it has its good places. All drugs do. When it comes to people being depressed, guess what? Some of our brains don't release enough of the serotonin, enough of the dopamine. It's that fucking simple sometimes. And you can take a pill, and it might take a long time to get the right medication, the right dosage. But for many of you, medication is the answer. And people that don't need it, they say, what do you want to get? You want to be on that the rest of your life? Why the fuck not if it makes your life better? That's the way I see it. And people say, what do you got to be down about? You just need to get outside and play more. They don't know what it's like to have that chemical imbalance. So I am telling you from me that don't let fear get in the way of you being well.
Absolutely. And with medication, like if you're new to it and you're apprehensive, it can be a little bit of trial and error of what works for you and what doesn't. It'll take a couple weeks for it to kick in, whatever it may be, too, because your blood system has to get it all through it, and then it takes some time. It's whether you're doing with anti-anxiety or antidepressants and anything like that. There's a lot of things that go into play. So don't give up hope if you don't feel an immediate change or anything like that. It takes a little bit of a time and everything. So
I had somebody back like in 2015 or so, a friend of mine, tell me, stay away from that shit. My sister, this is him talking. Mm-hmm. He said my sister took a Prozac and drank and then killed herself. And he said she never had any suicidal thoughts until she started taking the Prozac. There are stories like that, that's why I always bring up, hey, there was a guy that was allergic to peanuts, that's not the majority. The majority of people that actually use drugs daily don't have any issues with dependency or addiction or any of that. So a lot of the stories that you hear, sure, that could happen. Is people sometimes have bad reactions to stuff. It's always some kind of predisposition, and it's not half. It's not a quarter. It's few and far in between. And if you just don't want to take the chance, then of course that's your right. But just so you know, make sure you're not doing it for the right reason, not because of what somebody told you or what this 1 out of 2 million person did when they reacted to the same situation.
Right. Yeah. And just always feel free to communicate, whether it's with your therapist or your psychiatrist or psychologist or a loved one. Like, always just kind of keep open about communication when you start taking it, because you don't know. It's like I was on Lexapro, the antidepressant, for a couple weeks, and I remember like it was kind of working for me, it's helping, but I also noticed it would shake a lot, and that's one of the side effects that can go, and that can be something that's permanent too. So you always kind of want to be aware of what's exactly going on, stuff like that. But always be open to communication. It is kind of unnerving when you first start taking it, because it's what Rob was saying. There's a misnomer or a thought about it, how an impression of medication and stuff like that. So, but kind of buck against the system a little bit, and definitely see what fits your needs the best, and always kind of be careful when you do it too. Always consult with somebody for sure. So, nice stuff, Rob. We're covering some good inspirational ground starting off, I think. Let's get a couple super chats in here. Want to shout out Jim D. I already did, though, for $10. Thanks for that, man. Here's a good one, Rob. A two-parter here from Frankie Turizo, who was already on the show before. Do you like the Godfather book or Wise Guys better? Also, how good was Dango in the ring? Could he do RVD stuff?
So I didn't read the Godfather book. Mm-hmm. And so I can't really say, that's not a fair. What was it compared to? I forgot.
Wise Guys. Wise Guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that I read, but I mean, I normally am drawn towards nonfiction and don't spend a lot of time on fiction. Just at this stage in my life, I feel like I'm learning more when I'm learning history, at least as we know it, in a different way usually. But I mean, Godfather's a classic, and I mean, Goodfellas is great. But I don't, it doesn't, I don't know. I mean, it is really, really good. But I just think like Godfather just seems like it's like a, well, it was before anyway, so it's older, but it just seems like it's more of a standard setter, like it holds its place in history as one of the all-time greats. And we all love Goodfellas, which was made from Henry Hill's book, Wise Guys. But and we love it. It could be one of our favorite movies. But I think that no, I guess they are a lot more comparable the more I think about it. Actually, and I'm going with the movies instead of the book because, like I said, I didn't read The Godfather. But I like Wise Guys better than On the Run or whatever that his kids wrote when they were in the witness protection program or about that time. I don't know, I guess God, I mean, I know the Wise Guys and Henry Hill's story way better than The Godfather, and that was all based on some true stuff, and they put it together and made a great movie that the mafia swears represented them in a good light and all that. But I definitely have seen Goodfellas a lot more times and could do the dialogue with you on that way better than Godfather, any of the three movies.
Yeah. I read the Godfather book. I did like it. I think if you like the movie, the book itself lends a little bit more for you to sink your teeth into. So if you, but I've never read Wise Guys, so I can't speak for that one. So.
And by the way, there's a TV series. I joined this channel just to get this, and then I ended up canceling eventually because there was just like one season, but it's called The Offer, and it's a show, it's a series of live actors acting out the history of the making of The Godfather.
Oh, really?
Really good too. I really played it.
Down.
Yeah, so you see Al Rudy's interactions with Joe Colombo and the mob, when they were trying to stop what he was trying to do and they had to compromise and all of it. It was really good. I liked it a lot.
Man.
The Offer.
That's awesome. The Offer. I just wrote that down. I'll have to take a look and see what service that's on. How about Dango? Was he in the ring?
Yeah, Dango. Yeah, Dango and I were very competitive. So we both could do a lot of the same moves. In fact, we didn't want to copy each other, so we would, I did the split-legged drop down, and then he was like, well, I got my move's called the split-legged finish or split-second finish. That's what he called it. And I'm like, what is it? And I don't even know what it was, but he would just turn the other way. If I'm facing the guy when I drop down, he would maybe put his back to the guy, which if he did that, then I did steal it from him. But he would always just say that I stole his moves, but we were really competitive. I remember us both one day working out in the Sheik's backyard, and Judge Dredd was there, and we were practicing drop kicks into backflips. He was a big guy, 340, 350, probably at least 250. And he was there when Blackjack Lanza taught me how to punch. He had me punching on Judge. He just came by to show up and say hi. I hadn't seen him in years. And then he's like, watch this. Bam. But me and Dango would drop kick him in the chest and do the, complete backflip from it. And we were trying to add that to our repertoire at that time, probably around our first match, not maybe a little before, maybe a little after, but it was really early there. We didn't keep that one, but yes, we were always so competitive, and we tried not to steal from each other, but we were always very much alike in our skills, I guess. And so, like, I learned how to do a backflip off of a diving board and on a trampoline. And then one time I saw this little girl, she was a gymnast. I saw her do a backflip off of a fence post. And I was like, whoa, I never thought of doing it on the land. Like, if I'm going to land on my feet anyway, what's it matter if I'm doing it off a diving board or off a fence? And so I started doing backflips off everything. And it was fun. I'm sure I was showing off too. Dango's doing them now. And then what we did was I started doing them off higher stuff, and Dango started doing it off lower stuff. So he could actually go like down a step and do a backflip and land up the step, which I never was able to do that. Now on Instagram, I don't even know what's real or not. I see like so much amazing stuff. Stuff that we couldn't even imagine doing back then. Triple flips. I don't know if that's, but anyway, I famously, first Dango did a backflip off of our bleachers in the gymnasium. The bleachers were pushed in, so it was flat up against the wall, and he did a backflip. But he over-rotated a little bit, and then when he landed, he fell back, hit his head. He was okay. He was tough, but that made our pursuit for freedom a more uphill battle, because now they could use leverage against us. I told you guys you were going to get hurt, because we were like, no, we're not going to get hurt. We're too good. We know what we're doing. and anyway, he did that, and so I wanted to outdo him, and so I went up to the roof of the school and I did a backflip off the roof of our school. Bam, landed on the cement in front of the door by the shop room. And then half the school saw it, and then half the other half came down, wanted to see it again. So I had them put me back up there, and I did it again. And there wasn't really much to do to beat that, at least not safely anyway, that we saw. And then, he was always able to do it lower and just all kinds of stuff. He was always so gifted. Like he could grab a pair of nunchucks, which I love the nunchucks, but he could make it look like like he was Bruce Lee. And he actually taught me how to use them, which I love them. I'm no expert though, but I always think what a cool weapon though. And he also could grab a pole, make that a weapon. Pretty much anything. Like I used to just say it was because he was Asian, and try and stereotype him and try to find humor to fill the place of the hole in my ego, because he was always doing stuff I couldn't do.
Who was his favorite wrestler growing up? Did he have somebody that stood out to him?
I think it was Macho Man and/or Roddy Piper. Mm-hmm. I think Macho Man was his favorite though, because I remember him wearing the shirt, and he really liked him a lot. Yeah. So yeah, when me and Dango would tag team, it was a lot like the guys in AEW that are brothers, or they say they're brothers, or that started the company, Matt and
the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick.
The Young Bucks. Yeah, it's like they come across as if they grew up working together, trying to come up with new stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because me and Dango would do stuff that like you couldn't just do with other people. Some you could, and some of it I did carry on. A lot of the moves, tag team moves that I've done, I originally did do with Dango way back in the day. But we would also do stuff, where like I could grab his arm and like pull him, like a short arm, and pull him, and he'd put one foot on my hip and the other foot right on my shoulder, and just go like right up top to my shoulder, Uh-huh. And we had, so many choices we could do, like once we're up there, but we had that. So to show off, we could do that like anywhere like so quick. It was just 2 steps, like boom, boom. You know, he backflip off it or something just to get the wows. But that's how they come across to me, is like, you know, it's almost like an unfair advantage if you want to look at it that way.
Because they've been training together.
Like
for so
Sabu
long.
says sometimes that he says we cheat kind of a little because we've been working together so long and we train together, so we'll always have the best matches. It's like, yeah. All right.
Well, I remember Sabu was saying on Twitter maybe a couple weeks ago about somebody like, hey, your last match should be against RVD. And he was like, he kind of said like, yeah, but that would be cheating. He kind of mentioned.
Yeah, that's Sabu philosophy.
Yeah. That'd be cheating. Next super chat we got up here. Let me see. Here we go. Douche and Domino Mark 007. What a name. $2. RVD was my man in SmackDown versus Raw 2007. Fury of the Storm. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep. I hear that a lot, that people played me on the SmackDown video game, and that I guess, I don't know, they made me extra strong or whatever. I have no idea.
Badass on that game. Yeah, you were my go-to on Here Comes the Pain, which is like 2002, I think it was.
And they do one like pretty much every single year, right? Or no?
Basically, yeah. Oh, yeah. For WWE, they definitely do. Like
They do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they.
So I wonder how many games I'm in, but because sometimes I don't understand if I'm officially in it or if someone created me to put me in it because they gave them the tools to do that, which kind of means that they put me in it unofficially. I don't know.
Yeah, I think more often than not, you're actually in the game. I think it's just like you're downloadable content sometimes, so it's like you don't get released with the game, but later on they release you, and then the fans can download you and play as you then. And then I know on some of the newer ones, they have templates of the wrestlers, so like you would be on there, and then the fans can like fuck around and like change your outfit or some shit like that too, I think. So
Nice.
that's kind of
okay. Yeah, I can't tell from my royalty checks either.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. Dang it, that's the most important thing too. Let's see. Here's a cool question. Lady Nisa, thank you for the $5. Do you collect non-wrestling toys? Does Katie collect anything as well?
Yeah, actually, she slowed down recently a little bit on her obsession with. I'm gonna fuck it up. The fuck are they called? I want to call them plushies or slushies.
Oh, Squishmallows?
Squishmallows. Yeah.
My ex collected those too.
Slushies is 7-Eleven, right?
Slushies, yeah, I collect slushies.
Yeah, she has an obsession with Squishmallows. And it seemed like every time she'd leave the house, she'd come back with 2 or 3 of them. Isn't this cute? And she still loves them. But I think eventually she realized, like, there's not even room for us to sit on our furniture anymore. You got to clear pathway. But she also likes Barbie. She collects. That's definitely her thing, Barbie. Anything Barbie, she seems to buy it. You know, if it has Barbie on it, the official logo, whatever. So, oh my God, look what I found. Yeah.
So that's her go-to. Rob used to collect Ghost Rider stuff. Was his other thing too.
True.
Yes.
Used to.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
I used to do drugs.
Used to do drugs.
I still do. I used to too.
Past and present.
That's Mitch Hedberg.
Is it?
Yeah. Rest his soul. Yeah, that's my favorite Mitch Hedberg joke. There's a lot of them.
Did you like Sam Kinison?
Yeah, I liked him. I feel like I kind of feel like I was young, or it seems like it was when he was like really like starting to make a noise, that I was like too young to really understand and get, what he was doing. So it was just someone screaming and like, okay, I get it. He's got a gimmick. He screams. It's kind of annoying, and it was not until probably sometime in the last, 10 years probably, that I actually like heard some of his material, and then it was like, oh yeah, of course he's funny. Otherwise, people wouldn't like him.
Right? Yeah. I remember me being a kid. I was watching I remember him making appearances on In Living Color, and stuff like that. And that's how I got the taste of Sam Kinison. He was he was pretty funny.
And he was on Old School, I think it was called, with Rodney Dangerfield, the movie.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Next one, Instagram a wrestling historian. Thanks for the Canadian $2. Who is Rob Van Dam's favorite mobster? Thank you. Who's your favorite mobster? Do you have one?
That's it's an interesting question to answer because one, I'm not really that good at favorites.
Yep.
In general, just due to my stoic nature and the way that I view things. I don't pull a lot of things ahead of other things that seem to have equal value the way that other people do. If I have a favorite color, I don't know what it is. If I have a favorite song, my favorite movie probably changes, if you ask me on a different day, maybe. But so there's that. And there's the factor that, it's not like an adoration for the mobsters that I have, although it is a fascination with their interesting life. And so I'm going to take that as maybe my favorite to learn about and read about, although I can't imagine there's a whole lot that I'm going to find out that I haven't heard about Sam Giancana, because he's been dead since 1975, and he has had so many books, so many documentaries, even CIA classified info that has been declassified about him and his adventures, that usually if I come across some information on Sam Giancana, it's something that I've learned before usually, but still I enjoy it. He has been connected to so many different really important events in our society, and he's always been like underneath the history that we were taught, but a complete different way than we were taught. But Sam Giancana, he was the head of the Chicago mob from like 57 to 65, 66. And he came here to Las Vegas, and he was like there's a lot of info there that is not out there that I would like to find. It's got to be somewhere, because he spent so much time in Las Vegas. And when he was here, Johnny Roselli was the guy, the enforcer, the outside man that come in and make sure things are kept in order for the boss. And he traded with a guy named Marshall Caifano, and Marshall Caifano was fascinating, and he's the killer from Chicago. And it was like Johnny Roselli was in Vegas in the 40s, and then he went back in the 50s, and Marshall Caifano came down, and then they traded again, and Caifano went back, and Johnny came back out here, and then I think Caifano came down again. I believe Caifano came down twice, once in the 50s, and then I think in the 60s too. And I asked AI, I was looking for information for it. Did Johnny Roselli and Marshall Caifano cross paths in Las Vegas? And that's what I'm still trying to learn AI, but it's where things make sense, but it doesn't have info. It will tell me that it makes sense, like it certainly seems like they must have, because they were here from these years and these years and this and that. And I'm like, based on any like crime records, newspaper reports or anything, can you find any evidence that they were together? And that's an area of fascination for me. Sam Giancana was the boss. He owned the Calneva Lodge with Frank Sinatra, which was a hotel that's on the border, Cal for California, Neva for Nevada. It sat on the border. The border went right through the pool, gambling on the the casinos on the Nevada side, and they had bungalows that underground tunnels went to that like JFK would stay in, and Marilyn Monroe would stay in, and they had an awful party of debauchery with Marilyn there, like the week before she died.
Whoa.
And it was part of the story that led to her death too. It involved her, the Kennedys, Sam Giancana, information that she knew, the CIA, bunch of shit. And there's a lot of history there. I would like to visit the Calneva sometime, I think. It might be boring to visit, but I would like to, just because there was a lot of history that happened there. And back in the day, when it was a much smaller world and all the Hollywood stars and everyone partied together, everybody stayed there as well from Hollywood.
Wow. That's fascinating stuff. Man, yeah, that kind of era and stuff, Marilyn Monroe, the Kennedys, Rat Pack, all that stuff is like, man, that's right in my wheelhouse. So about that, I am game for that for sure. Let me see what else we got here. Somebody did mention on the 2K24 game. On 2K24, there's 32 different attires people have created of you from all eras. Your ECW stuff like the Nuke, WWE Yin Yang and Bone Singlet, TNA Dragon Scales, and your pink and blue tie-dye from AEW already too. So people have been staying pretty busy.
So when the fans make it, then anybody can use it? Or?
Anybody can use it. Yeah, that's the thing, is they have like a community creations thing. People can download the attires and stuff like that.
But what about the ones WWE makes? Or will they still make one if a fan has already made it, or no? Or
so what they'll typically, I haven't played one of the games in a long time, but what they'll do is you'll have like at least like 3 or 4 attires that are already in the game for you, and then people expand on them. But like now, there's more options and stuff to do their own creation kind of stuff. So they'll make like the ECW arena and they'll do different things like that. Even like there's so much options that you can kind of do and upload logos and different things onto there now. So it's very fan friendly, so to speak, I guess, now with all that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty darn neat. Let's see here. Hey, somebody asked if you had what papers do you use to roll, and funny enough, you can go to RVD, RobVanDam.com, and get his rolling papers. You can do that, and Rob has just been hammering those out recently. So I want to see if I have a graphic for it here. I do. Boom, right here. I see. Yeah, go to RobVanDam.com. You can scoop up the rolling papers from RVD. So take a looky there. Good quality stuff. Rob's make sure to have good quality products when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
check them out.
This pack's a little beat up, but it is really what I use. And I get a lot of gifts and samples sent to me. I have so many papers, but these are my favorite. And so I use these, and the rest of the stuff usually sits back.
Heck yeah. While we're at it, Rob, I almost forgot. We have a new sponsor. It's Manscaped, and I got my stuff. I didn't even unbox it yet, so I wanted to do it for a little plug here, I guess. So,
did you shave your vagina yet?
Yeah, I do that every morning. Go ahead.
I was telling you before, like it seemed like a while ago that every podcast had Manscaped on it. When I was hearing the commercials, at first I was like, they're trying to normalize. I don't want to say girls being sluts, but that's what perspective. You know what I mean?
Right. Talking about shaving balls.
Yeah. When I got a man's balls in my mouth, last thing I want to do is taste hair. You know, it's like, hey, shouldn't we be slut shaming them? Is that that we're doing that to sell these tools?
Oh man, they really loaded this up here, Rob. Okay, here we go. I got the Lawnmower Ultra 5.0. Look at that.
Oh,
dang,
shit.
Son, I'm gonna shave my vagina tonight. It's gonna be looking good.
You're gonna please so many people with that.
So many people, Rob. Yeah, you guys can go to manscaped.com. Bam! Get your lawnmower and use promo code RVD and you get 20% off. Plus, you get free shipping too. They also, if you're bald like me, they have a dome shaver that you can do, the Dome Shaver Pro. So there's plenty of options on there. You can use the promo code for anything. So go to manscaped.com, use promo code RVD, get 20% off, and free shipping. Manscaped.com, baby. Hey, we're in the pro wrestling podcast biz now, Rob. How about that officially?
Sweet.
Sweet. Also, want to thank our folks, our fine friends at Get Blitzed. Go to get-blitzed.com. Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney operate this out of Maryland, but they ship all over the place. It's Delta 9, Lit A, Nano-infused THC syrup, and is 100% legal in all 50 states. So if you're watching, you can scan that QR code or go to get-blitz.com, use promo code RVD, get 15% off. It's great, effective stuff. I have the blue raspberry that I tried, and it is very effective. I will say that, very effective. So give it a whirl. Go to get-blitz.com, 15% off, promo code RVD. And we also got to thank Blue Chew. You can try it for free. Use promo code RVD and get $5 off. No, all you do is pay $5 for shipping, but you get your first pack free. And hey, you can use Manscaped, and you can look a little bigger maybe when you use BlueChew.com. So there you go. All right, let's get back to the super chats here. Liam Evans, thanks for the $2. Have you seen American Godfathers, The Five Families?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. It was a 3-part series that aired recently on, was it A&E, maybe? Not a lot new there. Some footage that definitely hasn't been shown and reshown to death. There was a little bit of that stood out. But yeah, I enjoyed it. We actually talked about that last week. American Godfathers and Mafia Spies is another one that both came out kind of a similar time. And Mafia Spies, one of those, I also had to get some Fox channel to get that, and now I have to remember to go back and cancel because there's nothing else on there. But I needed to watch that, and there was no other way to watch it. And it had to do with Sam Giancana, who the CIA hired to kill Fidel Castro at one point. So, when I say he was tied into everything, and that was some of the CIA classified documents that they, like in 1975, there was a Senate hearing and all that shit came out, which might be why Sam was killed, because he talked about it. But Santo Trafficante and Sam Giancana and Johnny Roselli were both involved in meeting with Robert Mayhew, and it had a lot. It wasn't just about killing Fidel Castro. It was about training Cuban refugees and big planning. There was a lot of it involved, and that shit rolls right into the JFK assassination. It's just like two different sides of two different ends of the same spectrum. Like that was like one long story, really.
Dang.
Yeah.
Man, that's a deep dive and a half right there with all the mobster stuff. You gotta definitely look out for that. So yeah, you mentioned the Mafia Spies. I remember you saying good things about that one. So
yeah, there was a lot of assassination attempts on Fidel Castro. The guy was invincible. You couldn't kill him. But during one of the attempts, that was the biggest at the time, most orchestrated, because we sent a bunch of our fighters down there, the Cuban refugees, and I believe there was some Americans too. And anyway, they sent these soldiers down to attack on the beach, and it was supposed to be followed with air attack. And then Kennedy may have just found out, JFK may have just found out about it, or he might have already known about it, which I'm pretty sure he did. but decided to back out. And so the first crew that went there in the boats just got slaughtered. They were just there to get captured and imprisoned and killed. And then ever since then, the CIA and JFK where it ends. They hated each other. A lot of resentment. JFK said he was going to bust the CIA up into a million pieces. He was going to disband it. And, pretty soon afterwards, JFK got a bullet or two in his head.
Yeah, that's right. Jeez.
Over
into the Zapruder film.
Yeah.
Let's take a look here.
Maybe one in the head and one in the chest, back, neck. Maybe one in the neck and one in the head. I think that's. But anyway, yeah. There's a lot of conspiracy theorists, but people don't even know the real shit that's already been admitted now that wasn't admitted early, like in the 70s and stuff, that has to do with the information. The whole Warren, the Warren Commission is the study of the assassination, and that is what determined that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone crazy shooter, that there was no one else involved. It wasn't organized, orchestrated. This was a study, the Warren Commission. But if you look at it now, if you just look it up, there's so much information that they either just ignored or that they weren't told of. And not to mention that the head of it, the guy Warren, was a former CIA head that JFK had fired. They already had someone, and then he lets him, and then he's in charge of doing, it's like we investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong.
Jeez. Yeah, we took a look at ourselves. We're okay. We're good. Hey, wanted to ask you, I sent you the text earlier today, the clip of the Vince docuseries. You talked about it last week, about how you had the podcast you listened to gave you a certain impression of maybe what it would be about. There was like a 2-minute trailer that was released today by Netflix, and kind of wanted to get your opinion on it. And what did you think about it? Did it kind of affirm what was told on that podcast you're listening to, or did it kind of open? Oh, this might be a little bit more. Did it get you more re-engaged to it? I guess. Let me ask you.
It did get me. Yeah, the trailer has me intrigued to see the Vince McMahon docuseries. It's a series, right?
Yes, it's a 6-part series. Yep.
Okay, cool. And I already planned on liking it. I like Tiger King and the other stuff that they've done that I've seen. But yeah, for a minute there, I started thinking, well, I better lower my expectations. And now I don't know. Now I've pretty much removed my expectations, and that's RVDology 101 is try to not have expectations and just be in the moment. I'm looking forward to it. One thing I did realize after watching the trailer is I feel like I probably would have been okay doing the interview, because I saw we saw Cena, right?
The Rock, Stone Cold.
Right. And but I don't regret making the decision, because with my values and my thought process, it was the right thing to pass on. But looking back at it now with the bigger picture, maybe if I would have done an interview and I wouldn't have had, anything really bad to throw at Vince anyway. So I had that perspective, but I know that even when that's the case, editors can be creative, and really it was based on, and I probably told you this before, but when they were doing a documentary on Hulk Hogan, they reached out to me, and I was interested at first. They went to my agent. My agent hit me up, and I said, and I checked with Hulk, and I said, they're going to do a documentary on you, and they want me to be in it, and he's like, I'd rather you don't do it at all, brother. I'd rather you don't do it at all, brother.
Hey, dude, don't do it.
Hey, dude, don't be doing that documentary about this But anyway, I was like, dude, I mean, I'm going to be the positive source, though. I mean, I can go on there. He goes, I'd rather you don't do it. And I was kind of like bummed because I was thinking, I mean, that's a cool thing to be part of, exposure. I love Hulk. And then he said, they're trying to dig up dirt and talk about the sex tape again. Because every time they do that, it hurts my business currently. And I was like, fuck, all right, I won't do it then. And it was, for me, boom, easy decision. And that's why, like, with the WWE thing, it sounded very similar. And the lady even asked me, why are the boys reluctant to do this when Vince isn't part of WWE anymore? Because he'd already been gone, by the time they reached out to me. And I said, it's not about retaliation from Vince. It's that the WWE would look at any stories that were told that were bad that happened there at WWE as something that they would rather avoid and not promote, and have forgotten about. And they can be petty as well. And so, I was like, I'm and she even tried saying, well, we also want to talk about your career too. You don't.
Come on. How would your career fit into the Vince McMahon documentary? Right.
We'll find out when we hear about Rock's and Stone Cold's careers.
Yeah, they're gonna go in depth on those.
It would have been cool. It would have been cool to be part of it because everyone's going to be watching it. But you live and you learn. Like when I did that Dark Side of the Ring airplane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Airplane from Hell.
Yep.
I had no idea that they were going to edit it to make it appear as if I said that I saw Rick trying to make a girl touch his dick. Like if you watch it, so that's the way it comes across, and that's not what
you had a visual of it. Yeah, that's what it made it seem like for sure.
I didn't see that. I didn't say that I saw that, and I was coached into those words, which I didn't realize why at the time. I didn't have a problem with it because it also described what I did see, which wasn't nearly that bad. And so, I was just saying, he was all like up on her, like crowding her space. And he's like, yeah, was like trying to make her touch him. And he's like, well, like, she couldn't get around him without, having to touch him. And was he trying to make her touch him? Well, I mean, like she would have had to touch, kind of like with his whole, can you say that? Say what? Could you say, I saw him trying to make her touch him? I said, yeah, like he was trying to make her touch him. Boom.
Wow. So they were like trying to get you say certain words and stuff like that and give that an impression.
First time ever told.
Wow. How about that?
I've never told that to anybody.
Man.
Because you know why? Because I'm still responsible for what came out of my mouth.
Sure.
So it's like I don't want to blame them for me being a fucking puppet, being stupid enough to say their words. But it did also fit my words. I was like, yeah, he was trying to make her touch him. He's like, oh, she's like backed up against the wall, and he's like, crowding her. But I couldn't tell if she was enjoying it or playing or what. And I definitely didn't see his fucking his dick in the equation.
You didn't see the Nature Boy Wang.
I had no idea they were going to put that in there like they did. So because of all that, I passed on the Vince McMahon project, but I look forward to watching it.
Yeah. And I knew you were like, oh, I'm curious if they're going to cover like some of his past stuff that he had to deal with that he wouldn't necessarily wasn't the person involved with, which was like, I think you're referring to like the steroid trial or like some of the other cases. And they seem to kind of show that a little bit, at least the steroid stuff they showed in the trailer a little bit. So
I also wonder about the days way before my time, with the Mel Phillips and the
Ring Boy stuff,
Terry Garvin, with all that stuff. I hope we get to see him when he was young and hitchhiking. Like it was so crazy. The Sheik told me that he picked Vince up hitchhiking. He said he was a little snotty-nosed brat hitchhiking on the side of the road when I picked him up, the ungrateful bastard. And I never knew how literal to take that. And then I heard one of the other boys telling a story, and I hope it's not the same story, but it could be, about Vince getting picked up when he was hitchhiking. And I was like, I'll be damned, like he wasn't fucking kidding.
Wow, how about that? Jeez, was he hitchhiking to? Where was he hitchhiking to? Like, that's crazy. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. I know it used to be a lot more popular than it is now before everyone started ending up killing each other, but people used to hitchhike just to go anywhere, to go to the next town, Hey, it used to be a way of transportation, really. So I imagine when he was a kid, I don't know, in my mind, I picture him trying to go to the big city to go to the wrestling show or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Man, how about that?
But I think with the Sheik, I think he let him stay in his house for a while, because Sheik had this huge, like 35-room mansion that all the wrestlers from way back in the, I guess, 60s, 70s have these stories of staying at that mansion and training with Sheik and working with Sheik's big time wrestling promotion that was right there, and all that shit. So I think that he didn't just pick him up and give him a ride. From his story, what he was talking about was saying, that he picked him up from, he was saying it like he picked him up from the ghetto, fed him, took care of him, gave him a job, gave him a life, and then that he was ungrateful.
Oh man, dang, young Vinnie Mac.
And I just say ghetto because, from the drain, the side of the road. But I guess literally he hitchhiked back then. So I wish I could hear the rest of that story, because if those two stories go together, then that tells me a lot. Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, I bet you, from how it sounded, I mean, it sounds like they're really going to cover some of his early days
cool.
Getting up there and everything like that. So should be pretty interesting.
I look forward to it.
Likewise, it'll be a
fun. I got this rolling machine that I saw on Instagram. If anybody, I don't know if anyone has seen it, but it looks cool. It's the injection system, and in the ad, for some reason, they put Skittles instead of weed in it, because they don't want to show weed or whatever. But I thought, wow, that looks really cool. And man, I can't imagine. Like Katie was like, another one. She goes, it just seems like we have so many rolling machines, because we do, and all different shapes and sizes. And I used to want to invent a rolling machine where it'd be like, like you're making a pot of coffee or something. Like you put a bunch of bud in the top of it, walk away, it grinds it, drops it in, rolls you 5 doobies, 10 doobies, whatever, while you're, brushing your teeth, and you grab it on the way out the door. And for research and development, I bought every machine over the years whenever a new one came out. But this one, I want to show it to you, okay?
Okay, do it.
This one I think is pretty fucking cool. So,
all right.
See if you can. Okay, boom! You can see this, right?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, so you have to have a tube. Like some people use cones. I like the tube-shaped ones, like doobies, because that's the way that I like to roll them, right? But this part, super easy. You just you slide and you get these pre-made in the box. All these tubes. It's got a filter on it already. I've had them for experimenting also. But anyway, you just that's all you do. You put the fucking tube on there, and then you get some fucking Skittles.
Skittles, guys.
and you put it in top. Then when I push the button, watch, you're gonna see it. It'll start down here, and it'll fill up from here to the end. Watch this shit. Oops. Whoa. Why is it? Oh, never mind. I broke it.
There you go. It's kind of going.
What did I do? Maybe I got too much in it or something. Oh, it must be this thing, because I didn't use that before.
Oh.
No? All right. Well, never mind. Fuck it then. It rolled one doobie, and I was sold, and now it sucks.
Dang
what
it.
Did I do? Huh.
Is there not enough in there? Not enough Skittles?
I wonder if there's too much because I put some in. Weird. Let me see. It's plugged in now. Oh, you piece of shit.
Damn it. We're trying to do a QVC commercial and
Huh. All right, fuck it then. Oh, okay.
Hey!
Oh. So that thing was too tight. Okay, take two.
Here we go.
All right, but now I poured the Skittles out. Got to pour it back in. It's only like one button and like two knobs on it, so it's not too much I can do. Okay, let's try this again.
All right. Oh, I see it.
This thing, I'm supposed to have the thing up here holding the fucking baby. All right, but anyway.
See it filling up.
Yeah, it's just, you can see it?
Yep, I can see it.
All right, go.
Yeah, go, baby. This is like therapeutic to watch. This is like ASMR stuff.
It's only like the third derby, so I still got to practice and learn about it. You see it still filling?
Yeah, it's still going.
I don't know. It didn't take this long before. I don't know what I did to it, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I guess I tightened some of it up too much. And there it is. I could
Look
twist
at that.
off.
Whoa.
Boom, in there.
How about that?
Good, huh?
That's pretty damn nice.
Yeah, I thought so. And it smokes good. Like I had one before that was a spring-loaded injection system. You have an arm that you crank, bam, and it injects it in one quick fuck. It just goes boom, and it thrusts everything in there. And I could never smoke them. It was always so tight. Oh yeah, we're over here, and it was always so tight that I could never get a draw from it. And this one, like I said, this is only my third one, but so far I'm impressed with it. Look at
that. That looks great.
Yeah.
How about that? I think Jared Hall is referring to this too. He says, "Oh yeah, I've seen those. How does it work for you?" Hey, worked pretty good.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best demo because I just used it right before the show, and it was great. And I guess I fucked with it and tightened something a little too tight, and I got to learn about that. But I like it. It's really good. And normally I use like business cards or cardboard for the filters. This has the actual like cigarette filters.
Whoa. Yeah, that's
but it works fine. Yeah.
Still just works okay. How about that? People are impressed with it. They like it. Let's see. Super chat. This is a weird one. I don't know this super chats. I don't know who the super chats is, but thank you for the $2. Please get back to us. I don't. Oh, you mean the super chats in general? Get back to you? I don't know if you're done. I don't know what that means. Well, we'll get back to the super chats here. We got a couple of them. Let's see. Oh, yes. I know the answer to this. I know the game, too. Frankie Turizo, do you like old school video games? If so, what?
I don't play anything at this stage in life. I like games that I used to play just because they're still going to be cool in my head. But even though I have an arcade game just, around the corner and in my game room, I don't spend any time playing it. But old school, I used to love Moon Patrol, Dig Dug, Super Pac-Man. There was a game called Jump Bug, which was, I think, the first arcade game that I remember actually playing, Jump Bug. If anybody remembers that, you're old.
Jump Bug.
Bionic Commando was one that I was really good at too. But I guess that you could still call that old school because, I was still 16, 17 or whatever. But that was way newer than the old Atari games. But I have the Van Gaminator that has a computer in it that has like 3,800 and 20 games, I believe, in it. And so you can put in, Street Fighter, whatever, and it'll bring it up. All the games up till the point when that thing was made for me about 20 years ago anyway.
Holy shit. Yeah. I'm looking
Shinobi. I loved Shinobi.
Shinobi.
Yep.
I'm looking at Jump Bug right now. That does look like a pretty sweet game, though.
Yeah, you were a little slug bug, a little Volkswagen, and what I remember is you would get on clouds, and like the longer you could stay on the cloud, you're earning money, but everything's like floating by.
Yeah.
Like Stampede. That was an old school game from Atari. A lot of the games are similar. They just change it instead of a college cloud. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Did you play the Rampage where you were like the?
I did.
King Kong?
Yeah.
Those are
I
fun.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Dig Dug. I remember you liking Dig Dug. That's the one that stood out to me.
Kangaroo. I enjoyed. I liked Popeye.
Ooh, Popeye. What was the one? It was like a video one you were talking where it was like a cartoon.
Oh, yeah, I know. You're talking about Dragon Slayer.
That's it.
Laserdisc.
Yeah, Laserdisc.
I never really played that. I would watch people play it.
Oh, you'd watch people.
Virtual Fighter. That was probably my last favorite arcade game that I can remember.
Oh,
nice. I was an adult playing that when I lived in Georgia.
Yeah. Speaking of,
that was WCW Robbie V.
Robbie V days, the Robbie V days.
Playing Virtual Fighter.
Well, you sent me a poster from Georgia. I can pop that up here. It was a fascinating card. Rob, I think this is like...
Here when you're an employee, and then have somebody, give you your schedule and your days off and your whatever it is. If that works better in the future, I wouldn't want to stop anybody from being able to achieve that upgrade in life. But for me, whatever you need, put it on the agreement. If I am a shingle repairman, a roof guy, and I'm working on your house and we sign a contract, and then I tell you, I'm going to finish your contract within, or I'm going to finish your job within 12 months. And if you agree to it and you say, okay, but I don't want you working for anybody else, doing anyone else's roofs until you get mine done. I say, okay, you know what? I'll agree to that too. Guess what? Those are just all terms. We don't all need the same terms. We certainly don't all get paid anywhere near the same. And should we? It's entertainment business. Do we all have equal value? It's even hard to compare when you're talking about, who's selling the tickets and who are the people happier to see and who's keeping the people from turning the channel versus the people that they don't care about, but we need people to fill those spots. We can't pay them as much as the other people, can we? There's so much to it. I've always loved being an independent contractor and taking care of myself. I feel like if you're responsible, that is a better way that it works for you. So that's the way that I've always looked at it for the conversation. Love to hear anybody talk on that and talk against it. But if unions were around, would they just be on WWE, just WWE and AEW? Because the wrestling business is so much bigger than that. There's so many organizations, groups, shows that we don't know about even. That never even make TV, Right. Is unions, is it going to cover Bobby Fulton's Big Time Wrestling in Chillicothe, Ohio? I doubt it.
Right.
But, maybe. So in a case, so here's how I do business. When I get booked, like somewhere to sign autographs, I work out a deal with them. We usually have a contract, and it'll say my obligations, their obligations, and then I get I take a deposit of half of it up front before I give you that day and mark it off on my calendar. I usually say I like to have the other half up front, but depending on the situation, a lot of times I'll just get it when I go there. But I work on the guarantee, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people will work on a split and they'll sell what they sell, and then they get paid based off of that, whatever, like that. So when I started working for Bobby Fulton, he said he doesn't do contracts. I said, okay, well, I get a deposit, 50% deposit. And then he goes, I don't ever send a deposit, but you never have to worry about me fucking you. Bobby Fulton's words. Bobby's mouth to God. I don't do a deposit, but you'll never have to worry about me fucking you. And I did a lot of shows for him, did a lot of shows for his kid. This is not a shit talking or a burying, or this is not even meant to be messy. So, don't take it that way. But Philadelphia WrestleMania, got screwed over, had to fight for my money, took weeks and weeks and weeks, had to come up with all this paperwork and prove that we agreed on this number and then added this to it. It wasn't part of the original deal. It was something that a lot of times I would just say, once you fuck with my money, I'm done. I don't, why stick around? But Bobby, let's see the poster that I sent you. I've known Bobby since probably 93 or something like that. And I used to wrestle him. You can see right here. Where we at? Okay, Groves High School, Garden City, Georgia. Whoa, a dude was just reaching out to me on Facebook that helped put that show together, actually, for the high school. That's amazing.
No shit, damn.
Yeah, saying, dude, I want to call me sometime. Medusa. Saw her, right? Cauliflower Alley Club. We stay together.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many years.
How crazy is that, Rob? Yeah, it was like she was the MC of Cauliflower Alley show. And
I'm talking to her, and I've known her not only since here, but years before that. She was at the first live show that I was at with Sabu and Sheik in Euclid, Ohio, before I didn't even wrestle yet. I did a run-in on there, but I was so green. And she was on that match, and me and Dango both had a crush on her.
Yeah.
We're kickboxers. We thought she was cool as hell, and we're talking to her. She was signing autographs. We're like, whoa.
Dang.
Scott Studd is Scotty Riggs, by the way.
Oh, is he? Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. And so this is and Greg Valentine lives fucking a mile from me, by the way.
Yes, and you wrestled him many a times.
Yes, I have. But this is 92, 93. I don't know. I can't even think of how I could know that. It was right outside of Savannah. But did I live there yet, or did I live in Augusta? 91. Yeah. Anyway, 92, 93. It was way back then. Anyway, I've known Bobby forever. And then after I left WCW, I was running shows with Greg Price, who ran this show, and we ran promotions together, and Bobby worked for those. He wrestled, and then he would put on a purple dinosaur outfit and come back out as Barney the dinosaur and take pictures with kids for like an extra $50 or whatever it was. Yeah, way back in the day. So anyway, I respect Bobby. I think highly of him. And so I'm definitely not talking shit about him. But we did a show after the Philadelphia show where he was a little bit short. And he's like, I'm a little short. I don't have all of your money. It's okay if I bring it next time. And he booked me a lot. And, it's Bobby. And so I said, is this working? And he says, we got to come up with something different because, maybe we can do a split or something. And I said, Bobby, I'll solve your problem right now. Quit booking me. I said, let's cancel the rest of the bookings because he has me maybe 6 more times for the rest of the year. And I said, Bobby, let's cancel them because I don't want to gamble with you. I don't want to take that chance with you. I only want to work on a guarantee. If you're not making money, easy. We'll just boom. No harm, no. And he says, well, let me I'll take a look. I'll take a look at the shows and see which ones are going to be bigger, are worth bringing you in. And so we're not wasting everyone's time. I was like, okay, if you say so. So we did another show, and you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is when there's like an hour left in the day, Bobby tells me he quits. He's quitting the business. He doesn't have all the money. This is all that he brought in. Okay, you mean you like you owe me? I don't have it. No, I get it. You mean like you got to get it? Like you don't have it? I don't have it. I'm done. I quit the business. I don't have any money. And I'm like, I already told him before that I only wanted it when he had the guarantee. So this is why, me being my own boss, I got to not be so flexible on my own terms. If I need all the money up front, then nothing's going to happen that I'm going to regret. Would a union help that? Would a union help book that? If I was an employee, what would happen? I don't know. I don't think that anybody thinks about the unions and the employer/employee relationship. I don't think anybody thinks of that as far as the independent groups. Mm-hmm. I think that they just think of it as the guys on TV, because they think, hey, you guys travel all the time and work so hard, and they tell you everywhere you got to be. But that's not everywhere. That's not Bobby Fulton, Big Time Wrestling, Chillicothe, Ohio. He might run a show a couple times a year, and he was doing a lot of those conventions, him or his son. And Dilly, relax. Don't think this was an attack, because if you come after me, I do have some photos. I'm not trying to be messy. I'm just saying there's only one way to look at this. Bobby was the gambler that didn't want to pay his debts. RVD was the contractor that did the work, then doesn't get paid for the work. There's no other way to look at that. So if somehow that slipped Bobby's brain, then this is a reminder to him that's what happened. Other than that, though, there was a time when, when I was like early 20s, when a promoter wouldn't have the money, and then I would want to beat him up. And then it'd be worth it, because then you're setting the stage so you don't get screwed again. Hopefully, the word will get out. But I try not to work for people that would be like that. Sure. And Bobby, of course, I wouldn't even think about beating him up. I wouldn't get anything out of that. And I like Bobby, and I respect him still. This is just, it is what it is. So, when the indies, there's probably, I'm going to guess, 300 indie shows to every WWE TV show, I would think, just because they're everywhere. If you follow Instagram, death matches, whatever, where are these crazy things happening, man? But there's a lot of them, and they're everywhere. And I know about a lot of them that happen too. Different levels. Some of the wrestlers really don't know how to wrestle, but they can break light bulbs over each other's heads, and they draw a crowd with that. People that like seeing that and shit. Are they going to get insurance? Probably not. I don't know if Death Wrestling Association.
That might not tie in.
Yeah. But anyway, several points there that I wanted to prove. And now unlike a lot of the other wrestlers' views that wish that they had employees' contracts so they could get better terms, unlike them, I feel like you should negotiate the terms you want as an independent contractor. And I'm thankful that I've always been in control of all of my business in that way, even when sometimes, like in Chillicothe, although it wasn't actually Chillicothe, but that's just the home base of BTW, or was because he quit. Even though whatever I was saying, period.
There we go. Yeah.
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's just a fascinating. It's obviously like the independent contractor stuff. This lawsuit that's Kevin Kelly and the Tate twins are going with AEW against. It always cultivates that conversation. Oh, should there be unions and what wrestlers and independent contractors? It's always a sticky situation. But when it comes to like, you make a valid point about like, hey, some of these guys get tour buses written in their contracts, and you look at in comparison. Hey, if you're thinking about a Cody Rhodes on a card in comparison to, I'm just going to name some Randy Hogan, that one jobber from many years back. If you're comparing those two to one another, it's like there's quite the difference between what Cody is earning for WWE and then what Randy Hogan is earning for WWE.
Sure. And not only do they have different value to the company, but there's not even like a cookie cutter pattern that you can put out there as a scale to say that someone starts out at this, and if they've been there so long, now they're worth this, because they might not be, and then they're worth this. Probably not. It's rare that that's why they're called great, because they're better than everybody else. So it's rare for someone to stand out and come ahead and from the class and from all the peers, and so that's something statistically that you got to keep in mind too.
And then something I just heard an interview with Arn Anderson talking to Briscoe and Bradshaw, and he was mentioning too how like back in the day you'd be like, I think he was talking about tagging with Ole or something like that, but like there would be moments where you'd be utilized in certain ways, but you're going up against another set of opponents, and they're like, okay, you're not going to be factored into this. And he was like, if you were to say that to somebody today, like a younger talent today, where it'd be like, hey, we're not going to factor you into this, people might raise more of a stink about it. Like in comparison to like, you kind of understand that, hey, this is just not your time right now, and certain things like that. And you kind of, all that stuff, you think about wrestling, it's like TV time, who's getting pushed, who's not getting pushed, who's getting those moments in the sun, who's not at the moment. There's a lot of different factors that come into play of where like, hey, how does a union fit in here, and how would something like, a straight pay scale fit for everybody when it's not necessarily fair grounds in wrestling. It's a competitive sport for a lot of you guys making it, Fascinating stuff.
I don't hear too many wrestlers speak from my perspective or share my point of view on that, though.
Right.
I don't even know if I can think of. I'm sure there are probably some, but I don't know who. Like, I don't know that I've heard anybody be pro independent contractor, and I think it's because, I feel like usually it's because they don't understand business, but that's just my arrogant way of looking at it, I guess. I don't know. So, there's probably more people, though, that see the benefits like I do. I just don't know who they are.
Yeah. I think from like the WWE perspective, it just being like this huge company, obviously worldwide, and the mothership of it all, so to speak, like you could definitely see an argument for like, hey, let's have like a flat rate for everybody coming in there, and maybe it goes up moving forward. Like they kind of set a precedent for all that or something in regards. But like, it's like when you're coming up to these independent promotions and they're, you can't expect somebody to have like, hey, we got to pay you a flat salary. I even see that on the small scale of like coffee shops. Like Starbucks has been unionizing, like, and that's been a big movement. A lot of it started off in Pittsburgh here. And then there was another local coffee shop, smaller coffee shop, not to the size of Starbucks, that were like, hey, we want to form a union. Within the day, all those coffee shops in Pittsburgh shut down. They were gone the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's just a different kind of thing you're looking at from an independent wrestling standpoint to, hey, maybe a big company like WWE, it could make a little bit more or something. But yeah, fascinating stuff. It's always a wild topic to cover, and great perspective there, Rob, for sure. So
in 2001, when I came to WWE, do you think that I should have been getting paid the same thing as the young guys that were coming from OVW? Mark Jindrak, Shan Stasiak, Palumbo, those guys. Well, but I thought that's what you were saying about coming in at a ground level.
Well, I'm meaning from like more so like you're an established star at that point. So I mean, I'm saying like maybe hey, from an introductory standpoint, there's like those guys, the OVW guys would all get paid an even
Like
level.
NXT guys, people they're creating.
NXT guys, the people that are basically on the same scale. But if you're bringing in a big star like an RVD, or you're getting, hey, I got Booker T from WCW coming over here, that would make any sense for you to be paid as like a developmental dude and certain things like that, because you got name cachet, you have star power, you are going to draw money for the company, so it's already built into that, I think. So yeah, I think it like you could kind of make more of an argument for like, hey, like a base salary for like everybody else in here. If you want benefits, here they are, or whatever. You could kind of make more of an argument in that regard, But it's always an interesting topic to cover for sure. So, boom. Let's see. A couple more super chats here. We'll close it out like that. Then let's see. Here we go. Frankie Turizo having some good questions. Thanks for the $5. How do you acquire and transport the ring? How did you acquire and transport the ring you sold to Paul? Did you train grappling like judo or catch wrestling while in Japan? Okay, so how did you acquire and transport the ring that you did sell to Paul there, Rob, when you bought it?
That's a damn good question. Did ECW come to Georgia? I feel like they picked it up, and so I don't think that I had to deliver it. It may have already been down. I really don't even remember if it was set up somewhere or if it was like in storage, ready to go. Because we were using it at the house shows, like that me and Greg Price did, all those. When Bobby Fulton wrestled in it, that was the ring. And but sometimes we would rent if it was a better deal than bringing it like really far. It'd be easier to drive there and then boom, get something local sometimes, and we'd have shitty rings. But I think they came to Georgia. I know we did Louisiana a few times.
You guys did a show in Georgia too, WrestlePalooza.
Oh, we did Atlanta because Junkyard Dog was there, and New Jack said, "He come up on me.
He come up on me."
Yeah, that's right. So I think probably during that Georgia trip, they probably picked it up. I don't know that for sure, but it seems like it would make sense.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, Cobb County, I think it was WrestlePalooza 97, I think it was.
Well, by that time, I was already in LA, I guess. So maybe not. Maybe it wasn't that trip.
Okay, and then he asked.
Oh, no, I didn't even go to WC or ECW till 96. So I guess maybe I moved and then had it in storage somewhere. I really can't remember. I'm curious. I know somebody that we know that I could ask probably though.
Oh, there we go. Well, did you train grappling like judo or catch wrestling while in Japan? Did you do any of that while you were in Japan?
No, I never did. Never was exposed to it. Never saw it. And so just the pro wrestling.
Just the pro wrestling stuff. Jem the Dawn. He's a regular. Sup, much love, Rob. Is your RVD 420 site going back up? It should be up.
See if it's up. Yeah. What happened?
Let's take a look. GreekGlass.com.
Yeah, yes. If it's down, it is going back up.
Oh, look at that. That did not. Hold on a second. So let me try a different route here. Maybe the domain is not.
Oh, we got hacked.
Okay, so if you type in RVD 420, you get I got a not found, but if you type in greekglass.com/RVD-glass, it'll take you to the site. So it's still up there. So go to greekglass.com, Jem, if you're looking to buy some of the new stuff that they got up there, because they still got several items up there that you can take a look at. So,
yes, sir. These are my pieces right there, by the way.
Oh, behind you there.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, look at that. You can see him right there.
Yeah, we gotta do a video for those guys too.
Yeah.
A bunch of videos I owe people.
Absolutely.
Is it what's RVD420.com? Isn't that one of them?
That's the RVD Glass. That's RVD Glass. So for
What if you
some
just-
reason that domain does not hit it,
Oh.
or at least it didn't for me right now when I did
Put
it.
.com in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it again. Maybe I typed it wrong. No, so it says the page can't be found. So go to GreekGlass.com, Jim, and then that'll take you to the RVD's products on there. GreekGlass.com. Great guys over there. I have a clip that I have to share with them, by the way, too, from the podcast. So yeah, go to GreekGlass.com and you'll see RVD Glass there at the top. Just click on that tab and it'll take you right to all that stuff. So take a gander. Take a gander. Rob, I'll close it out with this question. Liam Evans kind of made a comment, who's a regular on this chat, and he's on several other ones too. Fonzie, he's a big Fonzie fan too. But there was a graphic of Adam Hangman Page that was posted. I don't know if you saw the clip. He burnt Swerve's house down. He burned his house down to close out Dynamite this past week.
Yes.
Pretty stiff. They're having a cage match to settle it all this weekend.
Stiff, damn.
Big time. Well, Liam called Hangman Page mid, but I wanted to get your thoughts. What has your impression of Hangman Page as a wrestler and his look, talent, all that kind of stuff overall? What has been your impression of him?
Well, he reminds me of Bobby Duncan Jr., and that's just because of the way he looks, not anything else about him. But when I look at him, I see Bobby, and I love Bobby, so it makes me automatically like want to like him and want him to be like Bobby, you know. And I don't know him that well, you know, just the little bit that I've worked with him and stuff. He's, you know, cool, respectful, nice dude. But he looks similar to my cowboy friend, Bobby Duncan Jr., who passed away in 97, I believe, 97 or 98. And he seems to be the guy they're pushing, like in the main events against Swerve long term. That seems to be the big angle that keeps going, right? The spine that holds everything together. So I think he's got a lot on his back, you know.
Absolutely. And yeah, if you see this closing segment between him and Swerve, it's great quality, entertaining wrestling stuff. So Swerve buys a house, his childhood home. He bought his childhood home. They showed a video of it earlier in the day. He's like with Prince Nana. He's so happy and everything like that. And then they do the contract signing at the end. Hangman doesn't show up to the contract signing. And here he's in Swerve's childhood home and pouring gasoline all over the place. Then sits down on a recliner outside of Swerve's home, has a drink, lights a match, and the fucking thing just goes up in flames behind him. It's quite the visual. So pretty fun way to close the show out, and a great hook for the pay-per-view coming up this weekend. So very impressed by that. I really enjoy Hangman Page. That's the reason I brought him up. Yeah, and that's great you mentioned Bobby Duncan, because he does have that vibe to him. He's been sporting the Magnum TA mustache, so that's been pretty. That gets the tie to me with him, and I'm a big fan of Hangman. So I just wanted your perspective.
Yeah. I'll have to pay a little more attention to his wrestling. You know, yeah. I haven't worked with him in that way, but I know that he's like in one of the top spots. So that comes with implications.
It sure does. Sure does, Rob. Did you want to do an RVDology? You kind of gave a lot today with a lot of perspective already, but if you want to, I mean, it's your show, Rob, so.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of covered a lot, you know. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, here, let's do this. I'll do this real quick, all right?
Okay.
Ideology for you. If this hits you and reaches you at the right time, then boom. I'm glad that I decided at the very last second to spit this out before we close off. Okay. So there's two things that you got to have, and two things that even when you have them, you still got to struggle to keep them. All right. One of them is balance. Life is just like the yin and yang right here. It's a constant struggle for balance. So you solve one problem, another problem comes. But not just that, but you always have to keep yourself balanced as well. You know, like maybe you work a whole lot, and guess what? You gotta rest a lot to make up for it. The right amount of time to give yourself balance. Okay. RVD comes across as genuine, and when I'm here, obviously, this isn't a character. This is the real me. But at the same time, I am as if I'm at work, and I still have to protect my image. If there's stuff that has me feeling all fucked up in the head that's really bothering me, I can't trauma dump it like right here because I have to balance that. You know, I'm keeping it real, but don't have to show everything in order to be real and to be genuine. And maybe you're honest to your wife, you don't lie to her. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to tell her when you stopped at the strip club if she doesn't ask. You're not lying to her. Guess what? I'm okay with that because you're working on keeping everything balanced. And sometimes you forget that because you get so focused on one thing, and that's the other thing that you need, and that's perspective. Okay. Sometimes whether we're obsessing about something in our head, trying to fix a problem that we believe we can fix somehow. Otherwise, we wouldn't bother obsessing about it. But we think we can come up with a solution. We just haven't yet. So we keep on fucking gnawing it to death, even though it happened way in the past and we can't get over it because there's got to be a solution and I got to be able to understand it. Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to change your perspective. You've been looking at it from over here too long. You got to go stand over there. And you know what you're going to do when you do that? You're going to be balancing the room out. So think about that. A lot of times our problems are the perspective that we're taking that's upsetting us, that causes issues. And if you're able to take a different perspective, take someone else's perspective, or put yourself literally or figuratively in a different spot so that you can look at it from a different perspective, you keep balance, boom, that's a formula that I'm going to give you. Two things, perspective and balance. And if you're feeling like you're off, you probably are. What are you off on? Is your perspective off? Are you off balance? Because now you know what to work on. That's what I got.
Man, that's a great one. That's a tag team too. Balance and perspective. I like it. Good stuff, Rob. Guys, yes, thanks for tuning in, everybody, with the super chats. Appreciate all you guys doing that. Oh, Seth chimed in. Thanks for the $20. Just got back from the beach in time for RVDology. RVDology is rock I rely on. It's hard times, and I always look forward to it and to appreciate it. Sending good vibes. Thanks, Seth. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Cool. Appreciate that. I have to balance out sharing my values and trying to inspire people with my own self-image that sometimes I get where I'm just annoyed of speaking like from a position different than the people that I'm speaking to. It makes me feel arrogant sometimes, and sometimes I get tired of it myself, just hearing myself talk like, dude, shut the fuck up. But, when people say they're glad to hear it, that's what keeps me going. It's a balance, balancing all kinds of shit you guys don't know about. And I choose to show on the outside that I'm balanced, and that's where I'm at in the game. But the struggle to keep balance doesn't stop.
Absolutely. The neat thing, Rob, this week, Marcus and I were talking about. Marcus works a lot with DDP and stuff like that. And he's like, dude, he's just always so positive. And it's so good. Like, he's like, and like, I find myself when I'm like watching his videos, he was saying like getting invested in what he's saying because he's doing it for his job. And like, I'm like, dude, it's like the same thing with Rob. It's like I talk to Rob and he gives like these different perspectives on making you feel like a different way than how you envision certain when you're in the moment and certain things like that. So like even just like subconsciously, it's even beneficial for me to just do this with you, Rob, and like hear this kind of stuff. I think it's just been a big help for me as well too. So just wanted to let you know about that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And of course, DDP is my brother in karma.
Absolutely, man. Boom. Another tag team. That's your guys' tag team name is Balance and Perspective.
Yeah.
There we go. Guys, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you're seeing, be sure to subscribe to Rob's YouTube channel at RealRVD. Also, go to rvdtv.com and subscribe there. You'll get episodes every Monday at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Each channel has their own clips to them, too. YouTube, Chris does a good job over there at Rob's, and then I do the RVD TV. Also, tune into OneTrueSportTV.com. Go to robvandam.com. Get those rolling papers. Check out all that stuff. Rob, you got a little bit more of a layover still, right? You still got a little bit of breather before you have another appearance and stuff, right?
Yes, and I'm gonna next week. I'll pick a couple questions or comments from my YouTube page at the Real RVD to talk about. So if you give a fuck, then drop some text to me.
Drop some text to him. All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you next time here on.
Cool. All right, Van Dam fam. Have a great week.
Have a great week, guys.